Learning how to watercolor paint. Your supply list is a watercolor set and a brush, a container of water, a crayon, a wash rag or a paper towel. Let's learn together. Boys and girls, this is a photograph of a turkey, and it's really a magnificent, huge bird. Okay, boys and girls, I'd like to help you understand different parts or body parts of a turkey, which is a bird. A turkey has a really unique wattle underneath its neck, a snood that kind of hangs down over its beak, the beak, which is kind of like its mouth and nose. Of course, it has 2 legs and feet, and huge tail feathers, a head, eyes, a neck, and a body. Boys and girls, we are going to use a tracing of our hand to create a turkey today. All right, boys and girls, we are going to be doing a lesson on watercolor and also using a tracing of our hands to create a turkey for this season. Thank you. All right, boys and girls, we are going to be creating a turkey drawing painting with our hand tracing, okay? So first step is tracing our hands. So you lay your hand down, you take a crayon, and you press along the edge. This is the outline of the hand, and I'm going around each finger slowly, slowly, slowly. Now, when tracing, it's best to go nice and slow. And here is my last digit, which is the thumb. I'm going to stop here because I want to draw a line down here to create the bottom. Now, boys and girls, we are going to make this handprint into a turkey. First step is to draw its legs. 1, 2, and we're going to give it its little foot. And a bird has something called talons, which are kind of lines that hold to the ground. They look like lines. And boys and girls, this section of the hand is going to be the tail feathers on a turkey. So we're going to have to create a face. And we're going to need eyes. I'm going to make kind of cutesy eyes here. 1, 2. And turkeys are a really special animal. They have a beak. And then they have a couple interesting parts on their face. They have something called a wattle, which is kind of below their neck. And they also have something called a snood, which kind of hangs out over their beak. They're very unique looking animals. Now this is going to be, your fingers are going to be the tail feathers. So you're going to want a wing on this side. Now there would be a wing on the back side, but we really can't see it. So let's create the wing. And I'm just going to make this simple shape. And maybe I'll make little lines on the end of it, like a bird's wing. Let's see, maybe I could draw a line across here. You decide. I could make 2 turkeys in my picture. It might be hard to fit, so I might just stay at 1. Write your name at the bottom. My name is Miss Kroll. I'm just going to write K-R-O-L-L. And I'm going to start painting my turkey. Okay, boys and girls. All right, boys and girls. So we have our turkey created from our tracing of our hand. We have the beak. We have the wattle. And here's the little snood. And of course the feather, one feather would be on the other side. Here's its feet. Got a wing. We have the tail feathers made from our fingers. Some friends like to add a little design in the feathers to make them appear a little bit more like a feather of a bird. And the turkey is a great bird. And I'm just drawing a few little lines to give us that feeling of the texture of a feather. And I'm going to tilt it in a diagonal line on the other side of this line. And there we go. Here's our turkey. Of course, you could add the ground a little bit if you'd like. We're going to paint. And let's get started. Remember, watercolors, you have to wet your colors with water. So you pick up the paintbrush and you can dip a little water into the paint and wet the paint. And that's how you get your watercolors ready. They have to be wet to start. So I'm going to dip into my water. I've got my rag here, I've got my paint set, my paper, and my brush. And of course the bristles on the brush you want to keep nice and straight, even, never mashing your brush down and squishing it. You have to be very gentle. So I'm going to dip into water, and I am going to start with yellow. I always like to start with my lightest colors first. A little bit of yellow, and maybe I'll put a little bit of yellow up here for a sun too. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Yellow. And now that I feel like I'm ready with my yellow, I'm going to wash my brush out, wipe the edge carefully. Don't hit the side of the cup. You get the water on the brush, you clean it off, and you wipe it off. And I'm going to go into a little bit of orange, dip and sort of tickle the paint, don't mash it down. And here I am with my orange paint. And I think I'm going to stop here because I like to add a different color down here. And I'm going to wash my brush. I think wipe off the edges, and I like this light green. And I'm going to paint this section light green. I'm stopping at the bottom, washing my brush, wiping off the edges carefully, and I think I'm going to go into this red. Ooh, beautiful. And I'm coming down to there, washing my brush because I want a new color. Wipe, wipe, wipe. And I'd like to get the beak. Let's see. I think I'm going to use a little yellow, but turkeys don't really necessarily have yellow beaks. Oh. And I'm going to wash my brush, wipe off the edge, pick another color, and of course I would like red for the wattle, and I'd like some red for this little snood that kind of hangs off the beak a little bit. I'm going to wash my brush. There's actually sometimes blue on a turkey's face, so I might make my turkey's face a little bit blue. And you can see where I had wet paint with wet paint touching each other, and they kind of mixed together right at that point. So the yellow and the blue are mixing together, and it makes it a little bit green over here. Here I go. I'm going to bring my color downward. Ooh, I kind of like how that looks. Now I'm going to wash my brush. And there are a lot of beautiful colors inside of a turkey. Lots of browns, lots of whites, lots of black, maybe some gray. But we're kind of going with some sort of fantasy colors here, so you decide what colors you'd like. And I think I'm going to make mine a little bit green here. Ooh, now when those two colors touch each other, they're going to mix together. But that blue, green, and green are almost the same. So I'm going to wash my brush again, wipe the edge. I might go with the classic brown for this nice wing. And crayons act like a resist. That means they push back paint a little bit. They push back a little water, they push back paint. So it kind of acts like a little bit of a wall. It'll hold color in nicely for us. I'm going to wash my brush, wipe, 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 and I'm going to choose another color. But I want this part to dry a little bit, so I'm going to paint on different sections of my paper. And because my beautiful little turkey is outside, I'm going to give him some grass. I could even make blades of grass moving upward. Give him a little wild grass to walk around and live in. And do you see how careful I am with my brush? I don't push it down and mash it. I'm going to wash my brush, wipe it out, and I think I'm going to go with dark green too, because I think the light green and the dark green next to each other is going to be quite nice. Now I can go over this a little bit and move over to my other part of my paper. Oh, I don't have enough water in my brush, so I'm going to lift it and move it over to this green. I didn't make this one wet enough. Here we go. Tickle the watercolor carefully, and here we go. Maybe I'll save some room, and I will add feet. I forgot his feet, his little turkey feet. So I think I'm going to make mine orange. So I'm going to dip into orange, and I already wet that orange. And I'm going to go down here carefully. Here's my little turkey's feet. Wash my brush. Wipe it out. You can see my water's turning kind of mucky, but I have a pretty clean brush. I can wipe it off on the rag.